Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to the Kenny Brown Cars and Coffee Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Carrie Southworth, and I have Brad Grissom with me today. Brad, are you out there?
Yep. Good morning,
There he
everyone.
is.
It's so great to see everyone. It's a
Yes.
cloudy day here in Florida, but we do have a lot of racing going on. The 12 Hours of Sebring starts in 5 minutes, and we have the National Muscle Car Racing Association, the NMCA, that is in Orlando doing their spring break shootout this year. So lots of exciting stuff going on here. We have lots of exciting stuff going on with Cari at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
She's got some special guests today, so that'll be
Yes.
fun.
Really
Um,
excited about
I,
that.
I do have a couple of housekeeping things really quick. If you're viewing on
Oh, Brad,
Facebook,
Brad, Brad, Brad. Let's let them know what the show's about first. Come on. They don't
okay.
want to hear your boring housekeeping things. So as spring is in the air, and so it's time to start thinking about events that you're going to be attending this year. And so we thought we'd have a couple special guests on that are holding some incredible events that we're going to share with you. We're also going to be talking about tech on the differences between Panhard, Wattslink, and K-Link. Kenny Brown K-Link, and that's one of the questions we get the most. So we're going to play a little video with some diagrams explaining tech what the difference is between them and how they work. Brad is, if we have a little bit of time at the end, Brad's going to be sharing some internet finds. The people we have on the show today is Mark Badgley, Regional Director of the Mustang Club of America. He'll be talking about the 45th annual, our national Mustang Club event held here in Indianapolis this year, and there's a track event connected to it. So we'll be talking about that for all you trackies. We also have Bill Butler with us. Bill joined the Kenny Brown team about a month ago, and he has very interesting Mustang stories that he'll be sharing with you. He also has an obsession and an incredible knowledge on the Fox Body Mustang and on vintage Ford Motorsport memorabilia. So he'll be talking to us a little bit and talking a little bit about his event held in Detroit. You won't believe where it's held. Okay, I guess you should say Dearborn. Let's think about it. Where could it be held in Dearborn, Brad? What do you think?
The Dearborn Brewery.
I don't know. Maybe it's a brewery. I don't know. First time event, where do you think you could be held? But we'll let Bill share that with us. So, Brad,
Okay.
you can go into your nasty little housekeeping, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, it's a social media thing, so we have to remind everybody that if they're viewing today on Facebook, to please give us a thumbs up, or you have the option to give us a heart. And Kenny always loved the heart-shaped wrenches. If you're viewing on Facebook as well, you can share our live broadcast. There's a button. You just click on it. You can share it to your page, or if you belong to a Facebook group, you can share our live video to your Facebook group page, and then all of your friends can see it as well. If you're viewing on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. That's a thing that you kind of have to do now in order for us to get any traction. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. After you're subscribed, hit the bell to get notifications. Then every time we go live or we post up a new tech video, you will get notified. So that's all the housekeeping I think I have. I do have one thing that I don't want to forget. We always do a giveaway on every episode, and today we're going to do a giveaway as well. I'll let Cari tell you more about that. But if you're viewing on the Speed Therapy Society Facebook group page, when you leave a comment, your name shows up as Facebook user. You have to give special permission to Facebook or StreamYard for them to display your name. So if you want to participate in the giveaway, you can switch over to the Kenny Brown Performance Facebook page, our main business page. We're live there as well, and we will be able to see your name when you do leave a comment. So if you can't switch over for whatever reason, if you do leave a comment, be sure to include your name so we know who to mention if we talk about the comment or answer your question live.
So,
Okay, Cari, so that's all the housekeeping.
Okay, that's you. You know, people that have been with us for a while knows that Brad does a much better job at that than I do. So, very good job, Brad. I'd like to pat you on the back. So today, our weekly giveaway is a Mustang Hub magazine. So if you haven't seen Mustang Hub yet, you need to check it out. Brad will put a link in the comments so you can check out the magazine. It's a very high quality print publication. And as we know, there's not many high quality or print publications left. They do a great job covering Mustang all the way from 79 all the way up to 550. A lot of good tech articles in there as well. In fact, this last session, our magazine, we had the K-Link tech article in there. So that was pretty interesting, Brad. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. So
Yep, I read it.
Anyway, I think what we'll do is we are going to play the tech video first, Brad. I think that would be really good. Again, we have so many questions. What? You don't think
I
we're
have
going
a surprise. So instead of doing a tech video, I ran across an old video. And we just lost Bill, by the way. He should be back in the studio shortly.
Okay.
But I found a really cool video from, I want to say 1987, maybe, on YouTube. And I think you'll enjoy it. The quality of the video was not bad, considering that it's really vintage video. But I wanted to go ahead and show that. It's about 5.5 minutes long, if that's okay with you.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so let's give it a shot here. And if you can't hear the audio or anything else like that, please chime in immediately. If there's an issue with the video while I'm playing it, I may let the video run a little short, and then I'll post the link in the comments to where you can go and view the video yourself after the live show is over. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. We have Rory in the audience. He was the first one on today. Joe Johnson, he beat you. Phil Jolly, good to see you here. I know we're going to be doing an big installation on your car shortly. We have Jay Myers from Buffalo. Yeah, Jay, it's cold here too. From Buffalo, New York. We always love to see you, Jay. It looks like we have Brian West on with us. Tim Allen from Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. Tim, how's the weather out there? We have Greg Drake, Calvin Goring, and we have Vulcan's creator, whoever that is. Oh, this is Dylan. Okay, cool. Dylan will remember that you are Vulcan's creators. We have Jorge with us. Hi there, Stangers from Jersey. And Brad just put up the Mustang Hub link if you're interested in looking at that subscription. We also are giving away a free subscription today, so stay tuned so you can win that.
Okay, here we go.
Seven season opens at Sears Point Raceway, San Francisco, and the Saleen teams are back with only one objective: taking it all. With a formidable new look and an improved version of the Saleen Mustang, including four-wheel disc brakes, more horsepower, better aerodynamics. In the 19 car, Saleen and Titus. In number 20, international driver Desiree Wilson, the only woman ever to win a Formula One race in England. And from the winning Saleen team at Mosport in '86, Lisa Caceres, Bondurant instructor, Hollywood stunt driver. In the 6 hours at Sears Point, Wilson and Caceres make series history. The first all-woman team to take pole position and win. Moments later, Saleen and Titus take number 19, seriously damaged in qualifying, and rebuild overnight to a remarkable third-place finish. In up-and-coming races, Saleen and Titus will go on to win at Portland. Mechanical gremlins will mean 5th and 6th place at Brainerd. But there will be no question as the Saleen teams return to Mosport, Canada. Back in full force at Mosport, Saleen brings in further reinforcements. A third car, number 9, for protection during nighttime combat. Plus 2 winning Trans Am drivers. From his victory in Connecticut, Pete Halsman, and champion Scott Pruitt, flown in from the race at Watkins Glen that same day. The 24-hour battle begins. This time, number 45, Porsche's top team of Rick Hurst, takes pole position and jumps to an early lead. This, however, is no ordinary race. It is a supreme, almost cruel test of equipment, drivers, and crew. The perfect place for Saleen to prove his Mustang is for real. After 4 hours of door-handle to door-handle racing, Saleen tracks down the Hurst Porsche and establishes the lead. Already the day is over for some of the hottest contenders, a stark reminder that one mistake in 24 hours can be your last. Strategy must not be forgotten. Night falls, and the Mustangs hold their ground, but with morning comes driving rain, adding another twist to the test. Still, the Mustangs on General XP 2000Bs stay right where they want to be, in the lead, and go on to win Mosport for the second year in a row. The drive for being first continues, with yet another Saleen victory at Road Atlanta, a 1-2 finish for the 19 and 20 cars. And on to the season's second 24-hour race at Mid-Ohio, where racing legends Carnelli Jones and George Fulmer join forces with the Saleen team. At the finish, Porsche's first team will edge out Saleen, but the Mustangs forge an impressive second, third, and fourth place finish. Now, everything, 4 championship titles, will ride on Saleen's performance against Hurst in a season showdown at Sebring, Florida. Sebring arrives, and Porsche rolls in 11 teams, including Hurst, to defend its SCCA dynasty. Once again, Saleen captures pole position, and the Mustangs begin to pull away from the pack. In only 6 hours, everything will be decided. There will be no margin for error. But considering the punishing season these cars have endured, it will be a long 6 hours. After only 2 hours, the Hurst Porsche will take no more and drop out. With the final hour closing in, the number 19 Saleen Mustang is forced into the pit with a rear axle problem. Seconds count. But the Saleen crew gives a sterling performance, and Titus roars back onto the track. Saleen and team watch anxiously as Titus makes up lap after lap, and repeats his late father's performance of 20 years ago. Saleen and Titus tie for the Drivers' Championship. And in the number 20 Mustang, Desiree Wilson wins the race in the last turn, beating Porsche at its own game, taking the coveted Manufacturers' Championship for Ford. The Team Championship plus the Tire Manufacturers' Championship for General round out the ultimate victory for the Saleen team.
Once again, General Tire goes to West Tyler. Ford Motor Company goes to West Tyler. I also want to thank all the support of my company.
It is a unification of true champions. Saleen, Ford, General Tire, and co-sponsors Montgomery Ward, Monroe Formula GP Shops, Team One Ford, TRW, Motorcraft, American Racing Equipment, and Hunter Engineering, to whom being first is all there is. And now, proving in the world of production sports cars that being first takes being the best.
Okay.
That is pretty awesome. That is really awesome.
Yeah. So there's, let me fix my problem here. Okay, sorry about that. YouTube, of course, it goes to the next video. So a couple of things that were cool about seeing that is all the random little clips of Kenny in the pits. He was the hardest working guy on pit lane, the hardest working crew chief and team manager by far. And he was always the first one to the racetrack in the morning, and he was always the last one to leave the racetrack. And
how do you know that?
Well, because I spent a lot of years traveling with Ken, doing a lot of different types of racing at a lot of different types of racetrack. And so I know that firsthand, and I can tell you that there was always a reason for us to be first to the racetrack, but there might not have always been a reason for us to be last to the racetrack. So a lot of times we were sitting around just waiting on everyone else to leave so we could leave too.
And what
So
else?
that's
There was another rule too that we're kind of skipping past the Saleen years, but every event we would go to, we had our assigned rooms. There was no drinking because Kenny did not believe in drinking. You needed to be crisp. Yeah. Well, anyway, that was a rule, and what we didn't know, it didn't hurt us, right, All right, Brad? So.
yeah, absolutely.
And if
you had to be
down
selective.
there, if you weren't in the hotel lobby when we were leaving before Kenny got there, you were in trouble. You needed to be down there. He was a time stickler on time. But anyway, I loved seeing the Saleen years. I mean, that was really cool. They took that team, Brad, you know this, and I think everybody else does, from startup in year two to year two, they won 4 national championships. I mean, that is a feat in itself, and they beat Porsche. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, so that watching that video brings back a lot of old memories because there were a lot of clips of Rex McCoppin in there, and a lot of people don't know about Rex. Rex was he was Kenny's right hand man, and Rex was an incredible dude. He still is an incredible dude. He was so talented. He was a great mechanic. He knew the cars inside and out. He and Kenny worked together side by side for a number of years. They were like best friends, and I can tell you that Rex taught me a lot as well. So I was fortunate enough to spend some time with him at the racetrack, and I learned a lot from him. And if I'm not mistaken, in that video as well, I believe that we may have seen a very young version of Paul Brown.
Yes.
In there. So I noticed a very young, smartly attired young lad
red hair?
that had bright red hair. And so that was a clue, and it's really cool to see that and remember how Paul was, pretty intimately involved with Kenny's racing aspirations at a very young age.
Yeah, he was very fortunate. He grew up in the racing world. But speaking of racing and track events this year, again, like I said, spring is in the air, and there's so many events that you can sign up for this year, and you're probably planning all of those. We have 2 really cool ones that we're going to share with you today. And right here, he's been sitting here patiently, is Mark Badgley. He is the regional director of the Mustang Club of America, and he's going to share today a little bit about the event. But Mark, welcome. We're so happy you made it today. So,
thank you very much. The roads weren't much icy at all.
I called Mark this morning. I drove in. It was blizzard conditions. Snow was coming down fiercely. I saw a semi off the road, a semi on the side, a car, SUV that swirled around was looking right at me. And I thought, yeah, Mark, you may not want to come by today. But I think the roads were good by the time you got out there.
We just put the Bronco Sport into slippery mode and cruised right here at 60 miles an hour.
Bronco
so it's all
Sport.
good. See, there you go.
How do you like that Bronco Sport?
We love it. We actually went to Moab 2 weeks ago and did the Ford Performance School in Moab in a Bronco Sport, and it's amazing. Yes, it's not the full-blown Bronco, but it does some pretty amazing things, and had a great day cruising around in Moab, Utah. So
that sounds great. How many of you out there have a Bronco Sport or just a Bronco? I know that somebody there, his name starts with T and ends in an A. So anyway, I know he has a Bronco. But anyway, Mark is very interesting, and we always like to have interesting folks on here, and he's going to share a little bit about how he got involved in this, the Mustangs. But first of all, let's share a little bit about your show that's coming up in Indy.
Absolutely. This is our 44th annual race to Indy. It is going to be an MCA national show, and it has been amazing to me, the response to the show.
Mm-hmm.
We sold out the show in 2.5 months, and sold out the banquet at Delara, which is going to be set on Saturday night. And we've actually got Emmeline King coming down from Dearborn as our speaker.
Great.
And she was the first African-American female engineer at Ford and actually did the SN95 interiors, which will tie into a story later, I'm sure, when Bill gets on. But anyway, she's going to be here as our speaker, and we're really looking forward to having her here. And it's going to hopefully going to be a great show.
That sounds wonderful. So if you want to, you're having a track event with it as well.
Absolutely, which is why we're here, and really why I really enjoy the partnership with Kenny Brown Performance and the ability to come talk to everyone here to say, look, we're having a track event as part of the show. It's going to be at Putnam Park, which is a really nice track, certainly one you guys are familiar with since you test there. And it's really a chance to say, have I really ever just driven my car and gotten a sense of how it drives? And, you don't have, you're not out there qualifying. You're not out there running for a national championship against Porsche. It's just really a chance to enjoy the track and enjoy the passion for the car and enjoy it. So I would encourage anyone to take the opportunity just to sign up. And I think you said it earlier, have you really ever just driven your car? And so many people, as you get up in some of the showing classes with the MCA, you start to see, well, they push the car off and on the trailer and things like that. But in some of these classes, you're like, why wouldn't you go out and just come out and just enjoy the day and being with other people? So that's what we're hoping for. That's
cool. How many of you have been on a track before? I know there's some that probably haven't been on a track. We highly recommend this. There's some that, how many track events do you do per year? Maybe that's what I should ask, because I know we have a lot of people that enjoy getting out on the track. And this is a one-day event on Thursday?
Yes.
Thursday before the MCA event. So you can come in for the full weekend and enjoy the show and the track event. And if you know of your friends that might be interested, share the link with them. If you look in the comments, we have a link to the MCA website, and you can find the information there. But now, Mark, I've known you for off and on for a number of years. We've ran into each other. But I always like to ask people, what was their first experience with Mustang? How did you get involved in Mustang?
I was 8. And I don't know why my father called one day and said the house and said he was going to get a car, and he was either going to buy a Camaro or a Mustang. And I remember very clearly saying, you should buy a Mustang.
Good choice.
And so there you go. And I, whatever in my brain, and I think it had something to do with the 1967 Shelby I saw at church. And I was forever locked in, said I'm going to have one of those. And so we went that night to a little Ford dealer, and while he was inside purchasing the car, which had actually been the dealership's owner's wife's car, so it was a 68 C code coupe, black vinyl top, black interior, just really nice car. He bought that, and I remember I was sitting out in the parking lot in a 1969 Mach 1 with 351. I remember the wood grain dash and the big clock on the passenger side, and it was forever etched in my mind, and that did it. So we were hooked.
Well, that sounds good. So ever since then, you've been passionate about Mustangs.
Absolutely. And what's funny is my family has been historically GM. And my father owned nothing but GM cars except for the Ford Mustang.
Really?
And,
that's pretty
and so I said it laid a foundation, and ultimately that's what I drove to high school, 8 years later. So we had that car until I was probably out of college.
Wow.
So it was around
was that kind of your first car then when you turned 16, or is that what you drove?
Yep.
Oh, you were a cool guy.
I wouldn't say that, and no one on here that maybe knew me in 1976 would say that, but sure.
So you're the guy that drove the cool car? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wasn't. No, I just I didn't have the coolest car, but I had the idea I wanted to have the coolest car. And so now, since we've got our 2013 Boss 302 Laguna Seca, now I've got the cool car, so I feel good about that.
Have you ever taken that on track?
Yes, went on track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the MCA 40th in 2016, if my memory works. And I knew I had to take it on track. And it was just an awesome day. And this is the same group that'll be putting this event on. And when you look at the schedule, go to the links and look at the schedule. But that's the same group and the same basic format that we had there, and it was absolutely awesome. My daughter immediately went into crew chief mode because when she was little, she wasn't even a year old when she spent her first day at the track as we were doing SCCA racing at the time. And so we were up in Michigan freezing on Memorial Day weekend, but we were up there racing, and she remembers all the way through her childhood years hanging out at racetracks and autocrossing. So she immediately went into crew chief mode and was torquing the wheels, and so she's 32 now almost.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's fun. It's such a, being in the automotive, enthusiast marketplace, it's such a family oriented event. And so is the MCA, as I understand. Can you tell us, and I think most people know what the MCA is, Mustang Club of America, but can you just share a little bit of what does MCA want, what do they want to instill in their people, or what do they do for Mustang enthusiasts?
Yeah, there's a lot of facets of the MCA. Now, the Mustang Club of Indianapolis, which I'm a member of and have been for 20 plus years, they are a member club of the Mustang Club of America. And so we're kind of the local arm, and it's a chance to kind of come in. And I always look at our car shows as really an entry point into understanding what the judging rules are and understanding how an MCA national show would be run and the requirements for that. And certainly it was the case for us when we took our 2001 Mustang GT to a Mustang Club Indianapolis show. We came out of there with the things we knew that we had to be better at. And then ultimately, when we did our first show in the car, which also happened to be a Grand National, and we did really well at it. So it's really the entry level into the MCA. And then the MCA has really continued to grow as they've gone from, focusing on just restorations, and certainly a time in the world when they were focusing on just first gen cars. It's really grown to, you've got to think about what the Mach-E is. You've got to think about what the future is. You've got to think about how the Mustang hobby continues to grow, and who are those new people and how are you bringing them, and how do they like to use their cars? Do they like to do track days? Do they like to do cruises? And that's really where the MCA is changing their focus from just sitting in a lawn chair, maybe behind your car for 3 days. What if we get out and actually drive the cars? And that's why the track day, and that's why it's so important to have, people like you involved and say, come out, just enjoy it. You're not qualifying for Le Mans. You're out there just enjoying the car.
Yeah, it's a great event. If I remember from the 40th that and some of the others, they have different run groups. So they have advanced all the way down to the beginner. So those of you that are advanced want to run, we recommend it. Those of you that are new, you don't have to be intimidated because you'll be out with people that are fairly new at driving on track. And they have, I understand we have instructors in the car with them too, if you want.
You'll get feedback, and they'll, don't ask me how I know this. If you do something that they question, they will black flag you, and you'll get to come into pit road and have a little discussion. Again, don't know how I know that, but then they'll send you right back out, and it's a good time. So it's again, great family atmosphere. And my wife and I have been involved in cars since we dated and started road rallying all the way through all the Mustang hobby and the SCCA hobby, and it's been how our family have stayed together, and to this day do things together. So it's great for everyone, and I encourage everyone to come out and take part. And again, you're not qualifying. This isn't a national championship that you saw earlier and out there beating Porsches. It's really the chance to just come out and enjoy your car, and encourage everyone to come out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, do you want to just share the date and the dates and when it's being held? And
it's July 27th, 29th, 30. So the 27th is the track day. You can go to MustangClubofIndianapolis.com. There's information there. There's information on our Facebook page. You've also posted up those same links. You can go to motorsportsreg.com and register. There is actually where the registration takes place. But we'd love to have you out, and love to see people and your customers who are very track focused and driving their cars. Love to see you guys there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a few of us will show up. We have some comments coming in, which I thought I'd read before we say goodbye to you. But Joe Johnson said that the event at the Indy was great, the MCA event there. So he attended in the 40th. Also, we have Putnam Park is a fun track. Calvin Gorian's been there too. He agrees with that. We also have David Maloney.
Yeah.
You know who he is?
Oh, absolutely.
Great job, Mark. Looking forward to the MCA show. Mustang Club of Indy is a great club with some great people. I totally agree. I went to one of the board meetings about a month ago, I think,
Yes.
and it was just it's just like, old Friends Day. So it was great seeing everybody again. Eric Ringo, there's an MCA show at the Ozarks on Memorial Day weekend. So that's interesting. How many national events do you have a year?
There are 4 national events. The Grand National this year is in Florida, and actually the person that is the show chairman for that been calling me asking questions. Is actually going to come up to our show and watch the show the whole weekend to say what does she need to make sure she's going to be prepared for when she does her show for the Grand National.
Well,
so
you've done it a few
she's
times.
awesome. Yeah,
that's cool. How long have you been a regional director?
14 years.
Wow.
So
That's great. So you have a little experience under your belt. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. The other thing is, how can that people get involved or sign up for the MCA? Is there the national? Is it Mustang Club of America.org? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's Mustang.org
Okay.
is the Mustang Club of America site.
Okay.
Yes, it's Mustang Club of Indianapolis.com is the Mustang Club of Indianapolis site.
Okay.
And again, it's motorsportsreg.com if you want to sign up and come out to the track day and just enjoy hanging out with like-minded people.
That sounds
So
good.
it'll be a good time.
That sounds good. July should be nice, hot weather here. So hope to see you at the track. And thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate being here. And again, it's great to have partners like you and be able to count on you to support the club. So thank you very much for all your support and all your years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a great day.
Brad, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It was so good to see you. I actually had met Mark years ago when I was in Indianapolis before I moved to Florida. And so I can testify that all the people in the Mustang Club of Indianapolis are great people. They're fun people to hang out with. I strongly encourage everybody to visit their website. I posted up links to the event page. I posted up links to the motorsportreg.com registration page if you would like to join in on the track events. I posted up a link to the Mustang Club of America's website as well. So there's several links. For those of you who have not been to Putnam Park and you've not heard about it, Mark talked about it a little bit. It is a great track. It's been around since the 1990s. They followed a traditional business model where they were a racetrack. Now their business model has changed a little bit in that they're leaning more toward the country club corporate membership type of program, which is great to see them do. It ensures that the track will be around for years to come. And that they're going to be financially stable. It is a 1.8 mile road course. It has 10 turns. There are a lot of open wheel teams historically that have tested there. Those would be IndyCar teams. They could be Indy Lights, Formula Atlantics, things like that. There are a lot of corporate members like Wayne Taylor Racing is a corporate member of Putnam Park. They do a lot of testing for their Daytona prototype cars there. There's a lot of LMP2 teams that test there. So that tells you that the track is worthy of being a big time test track for these teams. It's got a lot of everything. It's got 90-degree right-handers. It's got sweepers. It has a corner that is infamous that's called Dead Bear. That is a downhill corner at entry. It is off camber. It is uphill at exit. It's blind, 180 degrees, almost like a carousel, has a really late entry. And so there's a lot of great things about that track. It's safe to run at. It's fun. It is a momentum track. And I strongly encourage anybody who's on the fence about doing the track day with the Mustang Club of Indianapolis, do it. You're going to have the time of your life, and Putnam Park holds a special place in my heart because it's the first racetrack I ever drove on. Myself, Kenny got me into road racing. He was the best coach and mentor that I ever had when it comes to performance driving. And so I was fortunate enough to have gotten my feet wet at Putnam Park with the man himself. So anyway, Cari, I know we have lots of other things going on. So
yeah, I want to just take a moment here. And if you're new to Cars and Coffee with Kenny Brown, we welcome you. Typically, we are live every other Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The other Saturday, we play an encore presentation of Kenny sharing much of his knowledge and tech tips. And it's worth watching. You might want to subscribe on our YouTube channel and get some notifications because you're not going to want to miss that. This show, we are primarily focusing on sharing some of the events that are here. And we really appreciate you being here. And if you like what you're seeing, please share with your friends. We have Brad. We didn't figure out how somebody's going to win our weekly Mustang Hub magazine. What do you think we're going to do? What do you have to do to purchase?
Well, I had a great trivia question in mind,
Okay.
but I'm not sure that everyone will get it, and I don't want to have the deck stacked and Calvin ends up getting the answer first. Although I'm not saying he won't get the answer, but I do have a great trivia question. And this came to mind when you mentioned Kenny's rule during race weekends is that we didn't drink at all. And
no drinking.
So I want everyone to think about Road America. And I want everyone to think about Elkhart Lake, the town of Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. And so there's a restaurant there that's pretty popular, and the food is great. And the ladies that run the joint are just a phenomenal group of people. And they love.
Brad, Kenny used to after hours drink with all the sisters at that bar restaurant. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
On race weekends.
Yeah, there would be a lot of hugs up there when Kenny would come up there for track events or race weekends. So yeah, you knew him very well. But anyway, that's by the point. But what's the question?
So that place was also a very popular watering hole. If you go in there, there's lots of stickers. There's some Kenny Brown stickers in there that have been well placed in various different parts. There's some Paul Brown tribute stickers that are in there as well. And so I want whoever wants to win the free subscription to Mustang Hub, you need to name this popular watering hole and restaurant. And so,
the full name, right? The full name.
The full name.
Jeff Jacoby. Yeah, I think Brad gave us all enough time to Google it, even if we don't know it. So, anyway, we will choose.
Okay, so Jeff. First off, I thought about Jeff before I asked this question, and so because the 12 Hours of Sebring is going on, I have no idea what Jeff is even doing on Facebook or YouTube. He's on Facebook. I don't even know what he's doing on Facebook because I would think that he would be working today since the race just started.
Maybe he had too much to drink last night, Brad. What do you think?
I have no idea.
The no alcohol policy. But anyway, so we will. I don't know if we should go with just Jeff or well, now we know the answer. So Jeff, you won. You won the free subscription to Mustang Hub magazine. You will enjoy it as a quarterly magazine, and it has just incredible photography, and the quality of the paper is wonderful. Great tech articles. Like I said, there's a tech article in there on installing the Kenny Brown K-Link in the last one. I think it was the winter edition. So we'll join there. And we have, I don't want to hold him up anymore because we have a really exciting guest to add right now. He's very special to us. He joined our team about a month ago, and he is just incredible. He's a graduate of the Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Academy. He's a Fox body aficionado, and he is really into vintage Ford Motorsports memorabilia. He sells it and trades it and does a whole bunch of stuff with it. In fact, he has a special Facebook group that we're going to share that. I could never say it. It's like way long like this, but you definitely want to join that if you're into vintage Ford Motorsports memorabilia, and he also Fox Mustang. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you, Bill. Hi, Bill.
Morning, Cari. Hi, Brad. Hi, everybody out there. How you doing today?
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today, Bill. And I wanted to just ask you a couple. First of all, you have a big event coming up. Let's talk about that briefly, but then I want to ask you some questions because you have a really interesting background. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the event that you're putting on?
Okay. The event is called Motor City Foxfest. And what it is celebrating 1978 to 2004 Fox chassis vehicles. And yes, we've had a lot of questions. So 1978 was the beginning of the Fox chassis with the Fairmont and the Zephyr. And we're carrying things all the way through 2004. Still a Fox chassis, few little changes, but so that's the event. And the best thing and one of my favorite things, it's going to be held at Ford World Headquarters in Dearborn.
I think that's incredible. Now, how in the world, when you're an individual doing your first year Ford event, did you get in at World Headquarters? I mean, that's almost an impossible feat.
Well, we're incredibly fortunate to have it, and so basically, I think it a lot of things came into play with that. It was more obviously a first year show, and we didn't anticipate it. So when we got together and talked about the show and doing something, I never anticipated. I honestly didn't even consider a Ford property. Ford had not had their properties used in a few years due to the pandemic. And so it was out of my thinking. So we were having our little barbecue meeting at my friend Glenn's house, kind of prepping for this. And his wife just said, well, what about a Ford property? And I'm like, oh, well, of course, instead of just having it at the local community college or in a parking lot. And so what ended up happening is my dad was a Ford employee for many years, and I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends that still work at Ford and some contacts. So I reached out and said, what's the possibility? How do you go about that? And it goes before a committee and they vote. And it was, again, kind of a miracle, but we're at World Headquarters, and a unique thing there are a few shows there a year, but again, for a Fox show, to have that kind of, legitimization, just having it on there, we're super excited, and it's really kind of propelled the show to the next level.
Well, that's incredible. I am just so impressed with what you're doing. Brad, do you have his website that you could pull up? So anyway, we're going to try to pull your website up.
I just posted a link to the Motor City Foxfest website in the comments. So you should see that if you're viewing on Facebook, or if you're viewing on YouTube, you should be able to see that link.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Check it out there. So Bill, I'm still just impressed with what we're doing, but you're having an incredible response too, aren't you? I mean,
yes,
a
lot. The response has been great. I mean, a lot more than we anticipated. Like I said, from the beginning, we were thinking, hey, this is going to be, I wanted to do a local Fox show, or we did. And it's just because of World Headquarters and things taking off, it's going to be a lot larger than we thought. And we're excited about it. But again, it's our first show. So there's a lot of people out there that have been very helpful to us. The Mustang Owners Club of Southeastern Michigan, and just so many other people that have been, giving us some pointers and tips and helping us kind of work through the logistics, which is, far greater than I thought it could be. But we're on track to have an amazing event, and we're very, very excited.
And what's the date again?
July 15, 2023. It's a Saturday. And so, that is the main event, but we're also planning a lot of extra events. being in Dearborn and Ford Country and the Motor City. So we will be announcing those very soon on the website. Dyno Day, there will be a track event. There's going to be just an incredible amount of things that people get to choose from. And, we want to show that the Detroit area is not as horrible as a lot of people think. That's another question people have said, and it's a great place to live, and it was a great place to grow up as well. So having, the old big three per se, but being involved with Ford and around that my whole life, it's been an amazing place, and it's going to be quite an event. So I hope everyone will check out the website, and we'd love to see you with your 78 to 04 Fox chassis. So Fox or Fairmont, obviously Zephyr, and then all the way through, Thunderbird, Cougar, of course, Mustang, and SN95 New Edge and Fox as well. So we're super excited to put a great event on for you.
Well, we're excited for you to do that. We're going to talk about the event you're going to next week in just a moment, but we have a couple comments here. Tim Allen, who was I think you weren't a Ford employee, but you were, I think, a Dodge Chrysler employee and worked on the Viper, I think. But anyway, World Headquarters is such a great location, great for photos and plenty of parking and lots of shade too. It's a great place. I mean, we've been there before for events, and it's just incredible. Jorge says that he's already signed up and he's going to be there. He's already got his tickets, and he says, "Nice Fox. Can you tell us a little bit about the Fox in the background?"
Okay, Fox in the background is an '89 Saleen. It's 89 428 and belongs to a friend of mine, not mine. So I'd love to own it. And this car is from Georgia. So it's an all original car, original paint, but it did sit outside for quite a while, and we've been my friend and I have been working on it pretty hard to get it back into shape and just kind of refresh a few things. But it will be so Cari mentioned the show next week, so we're going to be at Ponies and the Smokies, so we will have a booth there to we'll have some t-shirts and hats, and be able to talk to everyone and flyers and things like that. And this car will be there as well, the Saleen in the background. And basically it's a stock Saleen, nothing really done. We've just done some cosmetic things to it. Window run channel and kind of updating some of the door seals and the hatch seal and things that have deteriorated over the years. But it's, I don't know, I'll go that way a little bit, but yeah, dark Cabernet red with charcoal wheels, the 5-spoke and stripes as well. So
it's absolutely gorgeous. A couple other comments coming through. Jeff Jacobucci, one of these days I'm going to get it right. Jacobucci, love the Fox Saleens. David Maloney says also signed up for the Motor City Foxfest and couldn't be more excited. It's going to be an incredible event. The two events we're talking about today, the Indianapolis, the 44th anniversary of the National. Oh my, I am butchering that. Can you say it for me, Bill? It's the 44th.
MCA National.
Yeah,
it's an MCA National event. Yeah, Mustang Club of America event. Yes.
You were listening. So that's that. And then this his event, the Motor City Fox Fest, will be great as well. If you have any questions, I'm going to be asking Bill a few more questions, and you're going to find out fast that he knows a lot about Fox. And that's part of the reason why we hired him, of his vast knowledge of Fox, and not only that, and also S197 and all the other Mustangs. He's into it. He's been into it for years. And so we're happy to have him on board. But if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments area and he will answer them. Maybe we can try to stump the guest. How's that sound? Do you want to do that, Bill? Do you think we can stump you on a Fox question?
Well, we'll give it a shot. I'm only human, so I'll do my best, Cari.
Okay, before I forget, let's talk about, can you give us your Facebook page, group? Where is it? How can we find it? What's the name of it? And what does it do? What was your purpose behind it?
Okay. Well, first, Motor City Foxfest, we do have Facebook and Instagram pages, so I invite you to check those out and like those as well. And the group Cari's referring to is Ford Motorsport Performance Parts and Accessories. So I started that group, about 6-7 years ago, and it purely is for my passion for Ford Motorsport parts, which are vintage 80s parts. I say vintage now because that's pretty much what they are, but Fox era aftermarket performance parts from the Ford Motorsport catalog, and then into the Ford Racing as well catalogs. So that's one of my areas of deep interest, and so started the group to kind of share a passion and a love for those parts and accessories, memorabilia. And again, it's Ford Motorsport Performance Parts and Accessories. There are a few other groups out there, but we're fortunate. We've got over 24,000. We're pushing 25,000 members, which is a great little a great number for a niche group, because again, it's kind of a specialty thing. But as the Fox cars have increased in value, therefore the parts kind of have followed, and so a lot of the parts and memorabilia are some ridiculous prices, but people who collect understand the cool history of them, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a really cool Facebook group, very engaging. A lot of people interacting on that. The other thing that Bill is doing, since he's working for Kenny Brown, he is becoming more active on the Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Society Facebook group. It's a very cool group. If you're not involved, Brad, maybe you can add the link to that as well. But it's a really cool group where you can get a lot of technical information. We have a lot of resources on there. Bill's going to be more involved. Brad's on there. It's a pretty cool group to be involved in. So if you want to, we'll put the link there, and you can sign up for that speed therapy. It's Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Society Facebook group. It's almost as long as yours, Bill. We didn't quite make it. But anyway, I want to find out a little bit more information about you, Bill, because I know the information. We want to share it with people. But where did your passion for Mustangs start?
Well, I guess I've been, since I was a small child, I've always loved cars. So my dad was a Ford engineer. He worked at Ford for 40 years. And so, and then my grandfather before him worked at Ford, and quite a few family members and friends. So I grew up around that. And my dad was very often bringing cars home, new cars, test cars, different things over the years. And so from a young age, I was just fascinated and just obsessed with cars, especially Ford, being involved in that. So the Mustangs and all the special vehicles and things, even some European cars that my dad would bring home on the weekends.
That is really cool. So what was your first car then? Was it a Mustang?
No.
Okay, I didn't know this. Okay.
It wasn't my second car was a Mustang, but my first car was the family station wagon. It was a 1974 LTD Country Squire wagon. And that's the car that little kid in the back, I mean, you see these things online and Facebook and things where they're making fun, but we didn't, no seat belts. My brother and I were just bouncing around in the back of the station wagon, behind, in front of it with the trailer behind us, traveling the country for vacations with my parents. But that was a really cool car to have. My friends, they called it the Billmobile, and it had a 460 cubic inch engine. That had my dad put a 4-barrel on it. So it for as big as it was, we had a lot of fun with it.
Okay. I didn't know it had that much power and stuff. I was going to tell you, I thought it was like a dog. You didn't want to ride around in it.
No, but it went pretty good.
That sounds like it did. So our son, Adam, obviously he grew up in, our business, and he saw all these cool cars coming out. I mean, I had a supercharged Explorer. We had tons of Mustangs, 600, 700 horsepower at the time. And he really thought when he was 16 that his dad was going to give him one of those really high powered Mustangs. And we kept saying, no, you need to earn it. You need to, whatever. He still didn't believe it. So when his 16th birthday came around, he goes, what am I going to get, Dad? He goes, see in the back of the shop? You see that old shop truck?
Yeah.
That's what you get to drive. And he goes, oh, Dad, how could you do that? It was the worst decision, that we had made for him. But now he appreciates it because he learned the value of $1. He had to earn his own car. And knowing him, putting him, a 16-year-old boy, into a high-performance car, is not a good decision. So anyway, that's my little offshoot of a story. But
Yeah, I have something similar. I got the wagon. Now, I was happy just to have a car.
mhm,
I think things have changed a little bit. It was kind of a rite of passage to get your driver's license at 16,
mhm.
and I just was chomping at the bit. So I got my permit when I was 15, and a friend and I would actually sneak the station wagon out and drive around. I just had my permit. Fortunately, I was never caught. But and so I was always wanting something. So my second car was my first Fox Mustang, and what that was, it was an '82 notchback, just a 4-cylinder though. And so my dad took it in. My dad was in engine development at the time, and put a better engine and things in it. And so, without going into details with that, so what ended up happening is he said, if you get a ticket, the car's going away. So that's unfortunately what happened. I got a ticket, my first ticket, 82 miles an hour in a 55. I was coming home. I borrowed my next door neighbor's Mercedes to go on to homecoming dance. And I was coming home and never been in a luxury car like that, and just cruising along, didn't know, got my ticket. And so my dad, being who my dad is, a very strict and, teach you a lesson so you learn for life. He took my Mustang and he put a regular 4-cylinder back in it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Bill,
yeah, he went that
that's
far.
terrible.
One of the mechanics still had the engine and put it in his car. And I used to see him at shows, and he would, kind of tease me. Hey, come on over here and see your engine. I'm like,
Oh, Bill.
That's okay.
Although I'm sure you think it was a good decision now, but at the time, I'm sure it was horrible. I'm sure many of you have stories like that as well. Let's see. If you have any questions for Bill, we're going to talk a little bit about his Fox knowledge in a minute. If you have questions on Fox, Bill will answer those. Tim Allen says, that's why my first car was an 85 Mustang hatch, 2.3 4-speed, LOL. At least it was black with OE red pinstripes. Yeah, the pinstripes really make it go faster too, doesn't it, Tim? So I loved that car for 5 years. That is awesome. Great stories. So tell us a little bit more about first let's start about how many Mustangs have you owned in your lifetime?
I've owned 37 so far. And, I will say a few of them were kind of purely a flip, just to buy it, fix it, and sell it again. And all of them, all have been, so 36 have been Fox, and one SN95, which was my first brand new car was a 94 Mustang Cobra. So all of those they've all been, I haven't owned anything newer than that. Just my passion for those cars and love for them. So that's where we are with that.
Well, that's so cool. So tell us a little bit more about, I don't know how I can ask you what your knowledge is besides asking you a question about a Fox car, but you worked on them, you know every single piece and part that's on it. You're just you've installed some Kenny Brown products. In fact, I think you're going to be installing more on one of your cars shortly, mm-hmm. Kenny Brown products. But
yes.
Kind of tell us a little bit, I don't know if this is too open-ended a question, but tell us a little bit more about your Fox. What's your knowledge on Fox?
Okay. As I mentioned, my dad brought home, and I had an uncle also who worked at Ford. So in 79, when I was a kid, or 78 actually, with Fairmont. So it was, it was an okay car, but I remember the car that really stuck in my head was the 79 pace car. So my dad brought one home, and as well as my uncle, and I got to ride in those with the graphics and everything. So that kind of started my passion. But Fox is the Mustang of my generation. So one of the neat things is every time my dad would bring a car home, of course, I got to drive them even before I had a license. And I don't think I'll get my dad in any trouble now. So, but he would always point out some of the cool features. So, especially like on, for example, a Mustang SVO, all of the unique parts and details on a Mustang SVO, my dad would show me, tell me, hey, take a look at the pedals. Okay, that's a unique pedal box. It's a unique brake pedal, and it's unique to the SVO only, and just a lot of the parts they did. So it got my interest. And then when I had my first Mustang, of course, the newer aero cars, so the 87 on up cars were already out. And I couldn't afford one at the time, or my dad didn't want me to have. That's why I started with a 4-cylinder, but I upgraded. And the amazing thing that most people know about a Fox is I say infinitely modifiable. All the parts that are out there that are interchangeable. I mean, from 79 to 93. But so I started getting involved in that. And at one point, my dad made a suggestion to earn some extra money. So what I was doing is I was working on the cars, especially like heater cores and tune-ups and things. So back in the day, pre-internet, we'd take a 5x7 card and you'd cut the little tabs on the bottom, write a phone number so people could tear off the tab. And I would work in my parents' garage. A lot of Ford employees would come and I did a lot of heater cores. So at this point,
Cool.
so I've been around the cars since they were new, and my dad would bring home parts, especially later on when, Ford Motorsport performance parts were starting to get popular. And so throttle bodies and cylinder heads and exhausts and different things. So my love, that's what I love. I love all the Mustangs. I mean, I'm definitely a Mustang enthusiast, but when I see a Fox, that's what does it for me. I mean, it's crazy. These ugly, boxy little cars is, just turned into a hobby and a passion. And I'm so very excited to be working with Kenny Brown. As you mentioned, a lot of my cars back in the day, more Fox era, where I was installing Kenny Brown, extreme matrix braces and the jacking rail subframe connectors, K-member braces and strut tower braces, and the suspension components. And so I was very familiar with that, and having done it on my own cars and many other friends. So
That's pretty cool. One thing that we're doing, I should probably let you know, Bill's employee, we're going to be expanding our Fox body line. We have a kind of a partnership, a sponsorship with Fox Body FX. We have Bill here with Foxes. It seems like we're getting a lot of inquiries on Foxes. A lot of people are taking the live axle and transferring it to IRS and putting Kenny's rear geometry on their Foxes, and that's a pretty cool deal. We're going to be coming out with Kenny's K-Link for Foxes, so that's cool. But Bill, I mean, it's just, we're happy to have you here, and we're meeting right now, having meetings every week to come up with additional Fox products onto our website. So, and Bill's an integral part of that. I'm just really happy. We have a cool staff here that knows a lot of stuff, and Bill's been a good addition to that. Bill, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, part of joining the Kenny Brown team is an extensive training program. I mean, you've been here, I think, 5 weeks next week, and 4 of the weeks you've been training, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And one of the things that we have you do is go through the 16-week Speed Therapy Academy course that Kenny put together. And I just want a couple of thoughts of what you thought about that. I mean, I think it was an eye-opener for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously, as I mentioned, being around the cars, again, being around cars all my life, and getting deep into the Speed Therapy Academy, as you said, it's been an eye opener, because there is still an incredible amount of knowledge there, but so many things that I had no idea about. So I'm been excited to learn and watch the videos. And one of the coolest things is Kenny, he did so many videos, and his knowledge is, his over 40 years of racing, and starting with all the suspension systems and learning, of course, his philosophy, chassis, suspension, wheels, tires, and brakes.
Woohoo, you've got that down.
And so just learning each component, and then what his philosophy and thoughts, because it's not just one component, it's a system. It's everything working together, starting with the chassis, of course, and stiffening the chassis, and then all his innovative suspension components. And especially, I'm really excited now to try to find an IRS for one of my own cars, after learning about it and seeing his, changing the geometry, reducing wheel hop, reducing vibration. I mean, I could go on and on. So looking to do that. Excuse me. And as Cari mentioned, the K-Link, which is in development for the Fox, which I'm really excited for, which is, unbelievably innovative system for a live axle. And if you haven't seen a video on that, I encourage you to get on the Kenny Brown YouTube or Facebook, and we can probably even post a link to that, Brad, if you wouldn't mind, to see that suspension articulating while it's driving. They mounted the camera underneath the car, and to see that design, I can't say enough about it. I'm super excited to have it developed for the Fox and to put it on one of my own vehicles. So check it out. But going back to Speed Therapy Academy, I have learned an incredible amount, stuff that I never even considered, and I thought I was pretty knowledgeable about, chassis, suspension,
Yeah,
wheels, tires.
what I like about it is he went from like how to build your car, and these are the components, and this is what to look for, into how to set your car up. And then if you go to a track event or high performance road type situation, how to tune it for the track, and then how to troubleshoot. And then he gives driver coaching too. And it's just an incredible program. But we won't go into that because some of the people in here have attended that. They're alumni. We love that. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you. And we are simulcasting live on both our Kenny Brown Performance Facebook page, our Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Society Facebook group, as well as our Kenny Brown Performance YouTube channel. So you can watch us every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'd love to see you there. We talk a lot of tech. Today we're talking a lot of events, and we usually have guests such as Bill on talking about their background and what they do. We also have tech people on talking about transmissions and trailer tech, just a whole bunch of different things. So it's worth watching the program. Sorry about that, Bill. I had to put that little plug in there.
No apologies necessary.
So, anyway, we're kind of starting to run out of time here, so we're going to have to call it to close, but we'll probably have you back on another time to talk tech about Fox Body. If anybody has any questions, this is your last time to ask him, but we have a lot of comments coming through. We have Tim Allen said, don't talk about the IRS for Fox too much. I've missed out on 2 setups listed for sale last month. Oh, they are few and far between. So if you're thinking about doing, you need to purchase it. Jeff Jacobucci, is that right, Brad? Jacobucci. I'm down to 1 Fox right now, 1997 up convert basket case, need to finish. That's pretty cool. And then Tim Allen said that he wanted to thank you, Bill, for sitting in with Rich Cottrell on the 15-minute free Kenny Brown consult. He's really looking forward to meeting and planning for his 86 again soon. Again, if you're new to us, or if you're just want to ask a tech question on anything Mustang related, we're Mustang experts. We can also put together a build plan for you, so you kind of know like what you have on your car right now. What do you want to do with your car? How do you want to experience it? What's your driving experience? What's your budget? We kind of take that all together and we put together a custom build plan just specifically for you. It's a pretty cool program. So if you're interested, I think Brad put a link in there for the free 15-minute consult. It's just a really cool opportunity that we offer you to find out a little bit more, or if you have a tech question that we can answer, we'll take care of that as well. Let's see if we have anything else here. Keep looking.
Yeah, Cari, if I may, I will be at Ponies and the Smokies. So obviously stop by the Motor City Foxfest booth, but I'm really looking forward to meeting people and talking about Kenny Brown as well. So if you have any questions, come and see me in person, and we can talk then, and also set up a 15-minute consultation in the future.
That would be pretty cool. I'm sorry we're not going down there. Next year we will be there with a truck and trailer and cars. So
actually, we are going to be there this year.
We are, Bill?
Yeah, we're going to have Bill there.
I know.
Yep. But also, what are we doing for our show next Saturday?
Oh, this is I set this up for you, Brad. I just set this up for you. You go ahead, tell them what we're doing for the show next week.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be doing a live remote from Ponies and the Smokies, and we're going to have a couple of special guest hosts with us, one of which I believe will be Bill, as long as the internet service, bandwidth, everything else And I don't know if he's going to join us via cell phone or if he's going to have his computer set up with Wi-Fi, but we're also going to have Lance from Fox Body FX who's going to be joining us live from the, I guess they're doing it at the, I think they do it at the Seaverville Convention Center, if I'm not mistaken.
Sevierville,
so
yeah.
they-
So I'll get in touch with Lance, and he and I can kind of maybe do some collaboration too, depending on, he'll probably have the better equipment, I think, since he's more of a YouTuber than I am. So,
But it's
but yeah,
always cool. Quality doesn't even matter sometimes. You can see some of those cool cars that are going to be out
absolutely.
there. I think they have over 1,000 cars, don't they?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you've never made go
that
ahead.
that's a great show. I know that we will have Kenny Brown customer and Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Academy alumni member. We're going to have at least one of them there. I think that will be Brian West. He actually lives in that area. So, Bill, we want you to be sure that you hook up with Brian. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy to talk to, and we should probably try to get him on the live broadcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. He has a K-Link on his car, and they photographed it when they were in Tail of the Dragon last year. It's just a really cool shot of that back end of his car. So anyway, I'm sure there's going to be more Kenny Brown cars there. Look for Bill at the Ponies and the Smokies, and I think we need to end our broadcast. We will carry forward Brad's internet finds next week, as well as a tour of the Ponies and the Smokies. If you attended when we were at PRI, it will be similar. We'll be visiting different cars, just visiting different people. So it should be pretty interesting. So again, we'll see you next Saturday, and we'll be at Ponies at the Smokies. And thank you for joining us today. We really, truly appreciate it. And Jacobucci, you won the free Mustang Hub subscription. Anything else, Bill, you want to add? Or
nope, thank you.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to meeting everybody. And at Ponies and the Smokies, also again, call me anytime at Kenny Brown, and hope you'll consider coming to Motor City Foxfest in July.
Yeah, thank you again, Bill, for being on. We truly appreciate it. You're a great team member too.
Thank you
Okay,
both.
so this is our goodbye. Take care, and we'll see you next week, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.